This is the story of a woman who refused to let a plastic name tag define her destiny. At 20, she scanned groceries for $8.75 an hour. With $143 in her checking account and a dream that felt impossible to speak out loud. 7 years later, she owned a $16.9 million e-commerce empire. But the numbers don't tell you about the nights she built her business on a cracked laptop in her studio apartment, or the moment she realized the internet didn't care about her name tag, only cared about what she could create. Her name was Jasmine, and at 20, she knew every sound a cash register made. The beep of items scanning, the ding when the drawer opened, the receipt printer's mechanical whir. 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, standing behind counter number 7 at a big box retail store, smiling at customers who looked through her like she was part of the machinery. Her paycheck was $698 every 2 weeks after taxes. Rent took $450. Utilities, groceries, bus pass meth never worked. She'd overdrafted her account twice that year. The $143 in her checking account represented every dollar she hadn't absolutely needed for survival over the past 4 months. But Jasmine had a secret. During slow moments at the register, she watched people. She noticed what they bought, what they complained about, what they wished existed but couldn't find. She saw patterns, products people wanted, but stores didn't stock well. Items people bought reluctantly because there were no better options. At night, in her tiny apartment, she scrolled through her phone, researching e-commerce, dropshipping, online businesses. She watched free YouTube videos about building online stores. She studied successful entrepreneurs who'd started with nothing. The internet was full of people promising overnight riches, but Jasmine wasn't naive. She knew it would be hard. She just didn't know any other way out. The voice in her head was relentless. Who are you to think you can build a business? You're just a cashier. You have no money, no connections, no college degree. This is all you'll ever be. One day, a customer came through her line buying a specialty phone case for $79. Jasmine noticed it was poorly made, overpriced, and the customer seemed disappointed but bought it anyway because they needed something. That night, Jasmine couldn't stop thinking about it. She researched phone cases online. She found manufacturers who could make better quality cases for $12. If she could sell them for $39, half the retail price, she'd make $27 profit per sale. If she sold just 20 cases, that would be $540, more than a week's paycheck. The thought terrified her. She had no business experience, no website skills, no idea how to actually do this. But she had $143 and a hunger that burned brighter than her fear. She spent $87 on a basic e-commerce platform subscription and her first small inventory order. She taught herself web design using free tutorials at 2 a.m. after her shifts. Her first website looked amateur, but it worked. She named it True Case and launched with just one product, phone cases that were better quality and half the price of retail. Her hand shook when she posted her first Instagram ad, using the remaining $56. She didn't sleep that night, refreshing her orders page over and over, expecting nothing. At 6 a.m., she had her first sale, then another, then 4 more. That first month, Jasmine made $832 profit while still working at the register. It wasn't life-changing money, but it was proof. Proof that the internet didn't care that she was a cashier. It only cared that she solved a problem. She reinvested every dollar. Better products, better ads, better website design. She worked her retail shift, then came home and worked her business until 3 a.m. Sleep became a luxury she couldn't afford. Energy drinks and determination became her fuel. At 21, her online store was making $3,000 monthly. Still not enough to quit, but enough to believe. She expanded to phone accessories, then tech accessories, then lifestyle products. Every small win was a victory against the voice that said she couldn't, that whispered she should accept her place. By 23, her monthly revenue hit $28,000. She finally quit the retail job. Her manager, who had never learned her last name in 3 years, asked where she was going. Jasmine smiled and said, "I'm going to be my own boss." She rented a small warehouse space, hired her first employee, and other retail worker who understood the hunger. Her brand became known for quality products at fair prices, from someone who understood what struggling people needed because she'd been that person. At 24, her annual revenue reached $1.4 million. Real money. Empire money. The same customers who once looked through her at the register were now buying from her online, never knowing she was the girl who used to scan their groceries. At 25, everything exploded. Her brand went viral on social media. Influencers started featuring her products. A major tech blog wrote about her story, Cashier to CEO. The orders flooded in so fast, she had to upgrade her entire operation. She moved into a proper fulfillment center, hired 37 employees, expanded her product line to 243 items, partnered with manufacturers directly. Her business wasn't just about selling products anymore, it was about proving that where you start doesn't determine where you finish. Investment firms approached her with offers. Retail stores, the same chains where she used to work, wanted to carry her brand. The irony was delicious. She negotiated deals from a position of power, remembering every moment she'd felt powerless behind that register. By 26, her company's revenue reached $12.3 million. She had 91 employees, partnerships with major retailers, and a brand that stood for quality and accessibility. The girl with $143 had built something that mattered. At 27, her e-commerce empire was valued at $16.9 million. She owned the company completely, no investors diluting her equity, no one else's rules to follow. Just her vision, executed through years of relentless work and refusing to let circumstances define possibility. One afternoon, Jasmine walked into the retail store where she used to work. Not as an employee, as a customer. She needed to buy something random, and the irony was too perfect to resist. She went through the checkout line. The young cashier, a girl who reminded her of who she'd been, looked exhausted, defeated, like she was counting down minutes until she could escape. Jasmine paid, then quietly handed the girl her business card. "I used to work here, counter 7. If you ever want to talk about building something beyond this, email me." The girl's eyes widened, with something Jasmine recognized: hope, mixed with disbelief. Jasmine didn't need the validation of her former managers or coworkers, who'd treated her like she was invisible. Her success spoke louder than their dismissal ever had. She'd taken their low expectations and used them as fuel to build an empire they couldn't ignore. She didn't need their approval anymore. She had something better, proof that a name tag doesn't define your worth, and that the internet gives everyone a chance to build something bigger than the boxers others put them in. What Jasmine learned changed not just her bank account, but her entire soul. 1. Your current job is not your identity. It's just your current situation. The cashier uniform came off every night. The empire builder was always underneath. 2. The internet is the greatest equalizer in human history. It doesn't care about your credentials. It only cares if you solve problems and create value. 3. Every successful person you admire started with doubt, fear, and nothing. The only difference is they started anyway. 4. Your competition isn't other businesses. It's your own excuses. The moment you stop making them, you start making progress. 5. Minimum wage is what they pay you. Your worth is what you create for yourself when everyone else is sleeping. 6. The people who look through you now will notice you later. Build your success so loud they can't ignore it, then be gracious enough not to need their validation. Right now, someone watching this is working a job that makes them feel invisible. You're counting down hours, counting pennies, wondering if this is all life holds. Let Jasmine's story whisper to the part of you that refuses to accept mediocrity. Your empire is waiting. Start building it today. If this story reminded you that your name tag doesn't define your destiny, smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel for more Cashier 2 CEO transformations that prove anything is possible. Comment below with one business idea you've been afraid to start. Share this with someone working retail who needs to remember they're capable of more. Your e-commerce empire starts with a decision. Make it tonight. Build it while they sleep.